What's poppin', chat? Hope everybody's doing great. Wanted to do another little breakdown video for our connected Dynasty we got coming up in the next week. I can't be more excited for this game. I hope everybody else is as excited as I am. So wanted to do another breakdown. Last one, kind of went over the teams that everybody got and just explained everything. This one wanted to do more of a schedule breakdown because the guys, the commissioners, Tyler and Jacob over from the Sports Scramble podcast, obviously, went in, made everybody new schedules, and actually made nice graphics for it, like really nice graphics. So I wanted to show those off, show the guys some love for all the work they're doing and really do a breakdown of the schedules and also be a bit more brutal because I wasn't quite as brutal the last video as I probably should have been. Was a bit more hopeful than I probably should have been. So want to be a bit more realistic, a bit tough on people. Might upset a few people, but we're going to see how it goes. So just wanted to give a little intro to tell y'all how this video is going to go, get a schedule breakdown, and just so excited for this upcoming game. So let's roll that intro and we'll get right into it. Had to move the webcam for y'all. Just wanted to show the rules again real quick. They're the same exact rules as last time, so you can pause the video if you want to read through them. I'm not going to go over them again. Or you can go back and watch that other video and see me actually break down all the rules. But just wanted to put them up there for y'all so y'all could see. And then we're going to move right into the schedules. Leading things off, we got Tyler's UAB Blazers out of the American Conference. Go ahead and just show his strength of schedule because I broke down the strength of schedules for everybody. The rankings are a little off because the top 25 that EA released is actually a little bit different than the full rankings that we had. So a few of the teams are going to be a little off. I'll explain those as we get there. But the strength of schedules are going off of a combination of the two. So Tyler's got a 65.33 strength of schedule. And I only went into decimals because we have another person who had a very close strength of schedule. Going into it, I think he's going to do all right. The yellow box is a user game he has against Rice, playing against Ben's Rice Owls. So we'll be a little bit tough. Those user games, you never know how they're going to go. But we'll go ahead and just see how I said. So I do have him losing that user game. Rice is just a bit of a stronger team. I do think that Ben's going to bring that heat for Tyler, but we'll see. Tyler may surprise me, but I do have him winning a lot of his early games, but that end of the schedule is pretty brutal against Florida State, at Memphis, and then a user game. So with that being said, I do have Tyler going 8-4. He does have a very winnable schedule. And besides that Florida State game, he has a very good schedule that he could clutch up, really win the American Conference, honestly, or at least make the conference championship. But I do see him slipping a few times. West Virginia is going to be tough in West Virginia. Those country roads are going to, probably take Tyler home. Sorry about it, bud. Again, Florida State, at Memphis, and then that user game. But overall, Tyler has a very winnable schedule, and I hope that he can do pretty well with it. Next up, we have Ben's Rice Owls. He does have a bit of tough sledding, especially at the start, going up against at TCU, playing Wisconsin. Luckily at home, but they are the number 18 team. Ben is looking at a strength of schedule of 66, so just below Tyler's SOS, but there are quite a few very similar strength of schedules, and then a few outliers. But with that being said, like I said, he does have that user game against Tyler, second to last week of the season. With that, I do see him only losing 3 games. Like I said, those first 2 games are going to be pretty tough. And then, Navy, you never know what Navy's going to throw at you. So I do foresee Ben maybe slipping up there. He might also slip up at Memphis, but I did give him that win. So with that being said, Ben's got a 9-3 record, very solid. And again, being in the American Conference, he has a chance to win that conference or at least make it to the conference championship. Tyler and Ben actually may be seeing each other in the conference championship, having a rematch. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I have Ben going 9-3. Next up, we have Austin's Old Dominion Monarchs, playing out of the Fun Belt Conference. He has a very, very winnable schedule. But again, with these teams that we're rebuilding, it's going to be a bit tough. So he does have the 65.25 strength of schedule. Like I said, him and Tyler were very close, but his is actually slightly tougher than Tyler's. I didn't quite know how to put that in the video. I was going to drop him down or move Tyler up, but then I would have had to move Ben up. So I just decided to do the decimal points to show just how close their strength of schedules are. He does have a user game at Wade's Bowling Green. That'll be a tough one for sure. But with that being said, I do have him winning the opening game, but losing at Washington, that's going to be a tough one. And then also losing against the number 2 Ohio State, that's going to be pretty tough. And then losing at Coastal Carolina, at App State, against James Madison, and against the Marshall Thundering Herd. Very tough schedule for Austin. I do think it's winnable. I do think he can pull out a few wins in those losses and still manage to possibly win the Fun Belt. But I do have him going 6-6 in my predictions. Sorry, Austin. I hate to be so brutal with you, but it's going to be tough building up those Old Dominion Monarchs. But we'll see if you can prove me wrong. Next up, we got my FIU Panthers. And I love the background for this one, because FIU, they are navy and gold, but Tyler and Futch decided to go with that Miami Vice color. So it looks great. Playing out of the CUSA, I do have strength of schedule of 97. So significantly worse strength of schedule than the other guys so far. And I do have a user game at Chet's Indiana Hoosiers. But before I show what I think my record is, I'm just going to go ahead and call it now. I'm going to make my prediction. I expect to be called out if I get this wrong, but I'm doing my Babe Ruth right here. I'm calling my shot. Your boy's going undefeated this season. Got that 97 strength of schedule. The only games that I see me really struggling with are at Chet and then at number 5, Texas. But you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm calling my shot. And like I said, if I don't do it, I expect to be called out. Y'all call me out. Come comment on this video. Be like, look how wrong you were when I lose that first game. On the videos I upload, call me out again. But you know what? You're not going to have to worry about that because your boy's going undefeated. He's winning the CUSA and he's making the playoffs first year at FIU. Mark it down, calling my shot, Babe Ruth right here, pointing out in the outfield and saying, that's a home run. We're going undefeated. Moving on. Next up, we have Cameron W. Repping the Colorado State Rams. Cameron has a strength of schedule of 75. So, again, significantly tougher than my strength of schedule, but, a little bit closer to the other guys, a lot more on par. I will say, I'm glad I waited to make this video until after EA released their rankings because I had this ready to go. And I knew that they had Colorado at 16, but I was like, they're putting them at 16, but that's just the Colorado hype like they had at the beginning of the season. And I'm not trying to be a Colorado hater. I was rooting for them, and I still will root for them this upcoming season. I love Coach Prime. I'd love to see them do well. But I do think they have Shadir and Travis Hunter overrated. But after seeing their ratings, I'm glad that I went ahead and waited because I did have to change Cameron's record on that. I do have him losing at Mississippi State. Those Cowbells are going to be tough for him. I'm sorry. I love my dogs. I'm calling it, Cameron. You're not going to be able to beat them. And then Colorado, just that's going to be a tough game to play. They have them ranked so high. They have the players so good on this game. So it's going to be really tough. But besides that, losing to Wyoming and Fresno. But I think Cameron has a very winnable schedule. Very good chance to put up some numbers and possibly win his conference, at least make it to a conference championship, going 8-4. But we'll see how he actually pulls it out. And I hope he can make it to that conference championship. Next up, we have Krish's UConn Huskies. And this is actually one that I couldn't really predict too much because we originally said that Krish was going to the ACC in the original video. But I guess Futch and Tyler made a different decision. They went ahead and put him in the MAC, or I've decided to put him in the MAC. So with that being said, he will be playing in the MAC with Wade, but we don't know what his schedule is going to be because since the game's not out yet, we can't make the schedule. We don't know how it's going to do when we add him to the conference. So he's got 8 I don't knows. So I'm just going off of his current rankings, but those, the strength of schedule of that out of conference is a 38 because, he's playing number 19 USC. Iowa State, I believe, is right outside the top 25. Tulane's not too great. And UNLV, I want to say, is in like the 40s or 50s. It's a pretty tough schedule, honestly. But again, can't really go with his in-conference schedule. So just on the out of conference, I do have him slipping up quite a lot. I'm sorry, Krish, but UConn was one of the worst ranked teams on the rankings we used. So it's going to be pretty tough. And playing 3 top 50 teams in the first 4 games is going to be quite a tough start of the schedule. Again, I don't know how he's going to do in the conference. I hope he can pull it out in the conference and at least compete for the conference championship, but we'll see. And like I said, hopefully Krish makes something happen. Next up, we got Wade's Bowling Green. Oh my gosh, that changed my webcam. This page is so bright. Again, playing out of the MAC. So there's a chance this does change and one of these games turns into Krish's UConn Huskies, but we'll see how that goes. He does have a strength of schedule of 90. So I was not sure between mine and Wade's schedules whose was worse when I was doing these calculations because we both had quite a few 100 ranked teams. But I actually clear Wade by 7 rankings. So I have the easiest strength of schedule of anybody, and Wade is in second place. With that being said, he does have Old Dominion, the game against Austin, week 4, and then that game in red, the box in red, Kent State. According to the rankings that we used, Kent State is the worst team in college football going into this season. So he gets to play the worst team. So again, that's why I thought that Wade might beat me for the easiest schedule, but not quite. So going to go ahead and see the predictions. I do have him losing at Oklahoma State. That's going to be a tough one. And at SMU, going to be another tough one. I did predict he's going to lose to Austin. Sorry about that. Again, these user games are very much up in the air. You know, I don't know how everybody's going to play. Everybody's going to handle it. So these user games, I could be wrong. I do have him losing at Toledo and then losing to Miami, Ohio. But that also only leaves 2 conference losses. So Wade could very much be in the conference championship picture for the MAC. So we'll see. Again, hopefully we get some like Wade and Krish in the MAC championship. That'd be awesome. But I do have Wade going 7-5. Next up, we have Jacob's Baylor Bears. Fun fact, I thought that Seth's Vanderbilt schedule would be the strongest strength of schedule. But come to find out, Jacob has the toughest strength of schedule of anybody in our league at a 37. Seth is right behind him, but Jacob does in fact have the toughest schedule. It's going to be really tough sledding for him the whole year. So I actually don't have Jacob making a bowl game. Hate to do that to him. Hope he can prove me wrong, but he's got a lot of tough games. Started neutral site against Iowa, number 25 team in the nation. Then he follows that up going to number 10 Utah again. Going to be a tough one. I did have him beating Colorado again until the rankings came out this past week. No, I just can't see him beating Schdur and Travis Hunter and all the guys that are going to be so highly ranked on Colorado's team. At Iowa State, again, Iowa State's right outside the top 25, so that's going to be tough. Against Oklahoma State, against TCU, and at West Virginia, all those are conference games too. So that being said, I don't think Jacob is going to be making the conference championship in his conference in the Big 12. It's going to be a really tough season. I do have him upsetting number 22 Kansas. I hope he can pull that off. And honestly, I hope he can prove me wrong and at least make a bowl game. I would love to see him making a bowl game, but as of right now, with that tough strength of schedule and that tough conference in the Big 12, I have Jacob going 5-7 and not making a bowl game. Next up, like I said, we have Seth's Vanderbilt Commodores. I really thought that Seth was going to have the toughest strength of schedule, but he's just behind Jacob at 40. His saving grace is the fact that he gets number 4, number 5, and number 8. But then I think Jacob and Tyler, to balance it out, gave him quite a few easy out-of-conference games. And then on top of that, the other teams that he's playing in the SEC, South Carolina's not too great. Kentucky is all right. They're kind of middle of the road. Missouri, again, middle of the road. Auburn, I think, is in the lower end as well. So he did get some good luck with some of the teams. But again, those ranked games he's going to be playing, they're going to be really tough. I do have him losing against Arizona, losing at Missouri. It's going to be a bit of a tough one at Missouri. He is playing number 4 Alabama. I mean, even though he's at home, I don't see Vanderbilt beating Alabama. But hey, again, Seth proved me wrong. We were just talking this past weekend. Seth said, Vandy's never been good, but they've never had Seth as their coach. So you know what? We'll see. Hopefully he can prove me wrong. But yeah, losing to Texas at LSU and against Tennessee, which actually is another one of those where two people are playing the same team in Texas. But I do have myself beating Texas, and I don't have Seth beating them. Not because I think Seth's worse than me, but just because I had to, I had to call it. I have to be confident some way. So Seth does go 6-6. Those 6 losses are going to be pretty tough, and he is going to have to battle for those 6 wins. That Auburn, at Kentucky, those are going to be some tough ones that he really has to pull out to win it all, or at least win his 6 games and make a bowl game. I could see him beating Tennessee too, but we'll just see. It's going to be a bit tough. So then we have Nick's North Texas Mean Green, and in the American Conference again, 3rd team in the American Conference. We have a chance to have both of the conference championship teams in the American Conference in this league. It's going to be a bit tough for them, but it's right there with the strength of schedule of 68. So again, right there with the other guys that were between 65, 67, I do have him slipping up a few times. He does get to play his alma mater at Ole Miss. That number 15 Ole Miss team is going to be tough to beat, especially since apparently they have one of the best quarterbacks in the nation with Jackson Dart, according to EA. Hot take for me, but we'll go ahead and let it slide. Playing at the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers is also going to be a tough one. At Memphis, another tough one. And then at UTSA, I do have him slipping up there. But again, that's 2 conference losses like I have all the other guys in the American. So could still be competing for that American Conference Championship. So I hope he can pull it off, but I have Nick going 8-4. And then finally, we have Chet's Indiana Hoosiers. Another tough one with the Big Ten. He has a tougher schedule than most with that 55, but he did get lucky that he got a few of the lower ranked Big Ten teams. He does have to play, Michigan and Ohio State, but besides that, none of the other teams that he's playing in the Big Ten are ranked, so that's good for him. He does have the user game in FIU, but Chet's not beating me. I do have him losing at Texas A&M, losing against Nebraska and Washington, and then, obviously Michigan and Ohio State. Those are going to be tough. Do still have Chet going 6-6 and making the bowl game. He could slip up in a few of these, but he could also, upset maybe A&M, beat Nebraska. Those are a few that are up in the air that he could really turn it around. So with that being said, let me move this webcam so that we can go over the full schedules here, or the full records here. But I do have a little breakdown of all the records here. I have the top 5 on the left. Sorry, on the left here. I do have the bottom 5 on the right here, and then I have Krish underneath because can't really predict what Krish is gonna have going on. But again, I would love for any of these guys to prove me wrong. And hey, call me out in the comments. Y'all want to talk some smack? Let's do it. Let's get this thing heated. But yeah, hopefully they can do better than I'm saying. But I am calling my shot that I'm going 12-0. Got to have some confidence in this thing, so we'll see. But anyway, I appreciate everybody who tuned in. I appreciate all of y'all being here. Make sure you make sure you subscribe if you enjoyed the content. We got plenty of content coming up. I'll be streaming. I'll be making plenty of videos. I know the guys over the Sports Scramble podcast are going to be making a lot of content. I know Austin's going to be making some content over at Big ZD on Twitch. So y'all tune in, check us out. We got a lot coming out of this game, and I'm really excited for it. Also, I forgot to say this at the beginning of the video. We need a name for this dynasty. So y'all let me know if y'all have any good ideas for names for our dynasty. Comment them, and we'll see if maybe we can agree that we all like one of the ones that gets suggested. So again, I appreciate all of you. Like, subscribe. I'll see you soon when college football gets released. See you.